5 years ago, just a month before I was supposed to get married, I discovered a heartbreaking truth. At 30 years old, I found out that my fiancé, Karen, who was also 30, had been having an affair with my brother, Chris, who was 33. They only confessed because Karen was pregnant and wanted to keep the baby. Karen and I had been together since our junior year of high school and stayed together through college. Naturally, getting engaged seemed like the next step. However, after our engagement, she chose to cheat on me with my brother. It all started when, a few days after our engagement, Chris confessed to Karen that he had always had feelings for her. He felt compelled to tell her because she was about to get married, and he thought he would lose the chance to ever express his feelings. Karen realized that she had also developed feelings for him over time. They even flirted behind my back at family events. Despite her feelings for Chris, she stayed with me. I found out the truth 5 years ago, just a few months before my wedding, when they sat me down with my parents. They told me they were planning to be together and that Karen could no longer marry me because she was in love with Chris and they were having a baby. I was devastated and couldn't believe it. I told Karen I wanted her to come home with me and end her relationship with Chris, but my mother made it clear that wasn't going to happen. She insisted that Chris and Karen would be together, and I had to accept it. I was shocked that my mother supported this. At least my dad looked ashamed and tried to comfort me, but my mom was all about having a grandchild. She even told me to keep my feelings to myself because Karen was pregnant. Karen moved in with my family because her own parents didn't want to speak to her after they learned the truth. We canceled the wedding and my parents covered the cost, so I didn't have to worry about that. However, I cut ties with my family and haven't spoken to them in 5 years. My dad tried to reach out, but I wasn't interested. It took a long time and a lot of therapy to get over what happened. I had truly loved Karen, so it was hard to move on. I found out through other family members that she had a son with my brother, and a paternity test confirmed it wasn't my child. Karen and Chris got married and have been together for the past 5 years. I assumed everything was going well for them. Then, about a week ago, my mother called me out of the blue. She had always been the biggest supporter of Karen and Chris, so I was curious. When I called her back, she told me that my brother had been in a hit-and-run accident and was in a coma. The doctors said his condition was critical. I thought she wanted me to visit him and be there for the family, which I would have done despite everything. But then she said she wanted me to be there for Karen and my nephew. She expected me to step up and support them in my brother's place. When I asked her to elaborate, she explained that since Chris was basically out of the picture, I needed to be there for Karen and her child in every way possible. She didn't just mean financially. She actually expected me to move in with them and take care of them. My mother said she would have taken them in herself, but she wasn't getting any younger, and it would be too much work for her. She expected me to decide on the spot. I lost my temper. After 5 years of silence, she finally talked to me and expected something so huge. I understood Karen and her son needed someone, but that should have been a close family member, not me. Someone they betrayed and never apologized to. I told my mother I wasn't going to do it and that she was foolish for expecting me to. She argued, but I was already angry and didn't want to waste more time, so I hung up and blocked her again. Tried to go about my day, but I couldn't stop thinking about what Chris and Karen were going through. I felt bad for them, but I wasn't going to take my brother's place in their family. He was still alive, and it was weird that she acted like he was gone. Feeling uncertain, I decided to call my father. It was awkward after 5 years of no contact, but we made some small talk. I asked about Chris, and he said things weren't looking good. I told him about my conversation with my mother, expecting some reasonable insight. Instead, he agreed with her. That surprised me because my dad was usually the more level-headed one. He said Karen and I had a history, and I was part of the family. He believed that if anyone should step up, it should be me. His response threw me for a loop. For the past week, I've been avoiding my family and other relatives because I'm afraid they'll bring this up, and I'll have to explain my decision. I feel like the bad guy for refusing to help my family, even though they need me emotionally, if not financially. I haven't visited my brother in the hospital because this whole situation feels so weird. I haven't talked to my friends about it either because it's so personal. They know about the fallout with my family, but this is different. That's why I'm posting this here on Reddit. I need objective opinions because everyone I know will be biased. I really need advice because I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like I'm going back to that dark phase when I first found out about Karen and Chris, and I don't want to return to that. Please tell me what you think, no matter how harsh. I need the distraction. ATA for refusing to see my family and step up after my brother's accident. Update 1. Hey guys, I decided not to go see my family for now. It's just too much for me. My anxiety has gotten really bad this past week because of everything my parents said. I'm back on my anti-anxiety meds and trying to cope. I've received a lot of love and support in the comments and even in my DMs. Thank you so much for that. I've also talked to a couple of close friends about what's going on. They've assured me that I can always talk to them to get things off my chest. They also said my decision not to meet my family right now is the right one. I need to put myself first, just like Chris and my family have always done. Honestly, I don't think I need to be there for them emotionally either. They have each other. After the wedding was canceled and I found out I was cheated on, no one from my immediate family was there for me. My own parents turned against me and chose my brother, even though he was in the wrong. I've blocked them all again and will stick to my decision of no contact. I feel sorry for my brother and hope he recovers soon. Despite everything, I don't wish harm on anyone, but I'm out. I'm focusing on my mental health and considering therapy again. The way my parents' words affected me shows I need professional help. Those old feelings are resurfacing, and I need to look out for myself. Update 2. I heard from some relatives that my brother's condition is still critical with no signs of improvement. It's been almost 2 weeks and he's still in the hospital. I feel sorry for my family, but there's not much I can do. Everyone who knows my family has visited my brother in the hospital and offered their condolences. Except for me, I found out from relatives that my parents have been bad-mouthing me to visitors, making me out to be the bad guy. They've been saying I refused to visit and even accused me of saying this was karma for what happened 5 years ago, which I never said. Some relatives reached out to confirm if this was true because it didn't sound like me. I told them I never said those things and my parents were making it up to make me look bad. I was really disappointed they would do that, especially after already screwing up my life once. I'm lucky my relatives asked me because if they had just believed my parents, no one in the family would be talking to me now. For the past 5 years, I hadn't spoken to my parents, but my aunts, uncles, and cousins have always been there for me. I didn't want to lose that, but I think my parents couldn't stand it. They tried to mess that up for me, too. I just don't understand why they hate me so much. I've never done anything to them. My brother and I have never been particularly close, and my parents have always favored him since our childhood. This seems unnecessary and excessive. Update 3. Hi, so I posted an update 2 days ago, and today my mother decided to reach out to me again. I had blocked them everywhere, so she had no option but to visit me. When I came back from work, she was already there waiting for me. I was exhausted from work and didn't even feel like talking to her. I almost decided to get back into the car, but then she spotted me, so I had to speak to her. I didn't want to let her into my house because it would be hard to get rid of her, so I decided to talk to her in the front yard. That proved to be pretty bad for me because she eventually started yelling at me, attracting the attention of the neighbors. The conversation started normally enough. She just made some small talk, and I had to answer her politely. But then I couldn't help myself and ended up asking her why she had been spreading lies about me to make me look bad. I told her it wasn't fair since I'd never wished anything bad on our family, even after how they treated me. I just wanted to move on with my life, but they were making that really hard for me. I had been keeping these feelings to myself for a long time, so when I saw her, it all came out. I told her that after everything, it was difficult to think of them as family because they never treated me like one. I was disappointed by their behavior and didn't want to talk about it after coming home from work, already exhausted. She listened calmly until I said I didn't want to speak to her. Then she got really angry, saying she was there to apologize for exactly what I'd mentioned. She said she and my father realized they hadn't treated me well in the past 5 years and understood why I hadn't visited my brother in the hospital. She thought we should stick together for emotional stability, but after I said I didn't want to talk, she changed her mind and started yelling at me. She told me I should be grateful I even had a family and threatened to cut me off. I didn't understand why she thought I didn't care about my brother's accident. She claimed I hadn't shown enough emotion when I heard about it, but that wasn't true. I was upset. She just couldn't see it over the phone. After she started yelling, I lost all interest in talking to her, unlocked my door, and went inside while she kept yelling. She tried to follow me, but I shut the door in her face and told her to leave. She cursed me out and threatened consequences, but I didn't care. I just wanted to relax and move on with my life. Update 4. Hello, it's been 26 days since the accident. My family finally had some good news. My brother is showing signs of improvement and is no longer in a coma. I hope he continues to get better because the last month has been stressful for everyone, including me, even though I've been cast out. My parents' behavior over the past 26 days has shown me they are unhinged. After my last interaction with my mother, I didn't hear from her for a few days. Then my father called using a different number so I wouldn't recognize it. He started yelling at me immediately, calling me ungrateful and wishing I'd never been born. He ranted about how I didn't visit my brother in the hospital and how I wasn't there for the family. After 5 minutes, he hung up and blocked me. It wasn't funny at the time, but now I find it ridiculous how desperate they are to make me seem like the bad guy. My father couldn't turn the rest of the family against me because they know I'm not wrong. Now that my brother is improving, I hope my parents focus on him and leave me alone. Update 5. Hello, it's strange to be back after almost 3 years. A lot has happened, mostly for the better. I live in Germany now for work and have been here for the past 1.5 years. I'm also seeing someone. My girlfriend and I have been together for 8 months, and it's been blissful. In the past 3 years, I've had no contact with my parents, and that's been blissful too. I've kept in touch with the relatives who were nice to me. My brother is completely fine now. He survived the accident and after a long recovery is doing okay. Karen approached me after my brother started recovering to apologize for everything that had happened. I told her an apology wasn't needed anymore. She visited me with a bouquet to apologize on behalf of her and my brother, but I didn't care. I forgave them because I was moving on to better things. Since then, I've been here and my parents don't speak to me anymore. I'm really happy about that and wouldn't let them back into my life under any circumstances. I'm finally happy now. Thank you to everyone who showed me love and concern when I was posting and continued to